Hello, and this is my very first video in English. My mother tongue is Russian, and I usually never do any of my work in English. So it could be just private consultations, maybe private tarot readings, and etc. But I do a lot of educational videos and courses and whatsoever about magic, about working with deities. I decided that I will try a English speaking field for myself, because I live in Europe and my English speaking followers amount start to grow, and I understand that I need to do something in English, and that's really out of my comfort zone. Like, I am so out of my comfort zone now, as you can imagine, even though that I sit by myself alone in my working room close to my altar and with support all the gods is possible, but still I'm quite nervous. So I'm sorry if my mistakes in English will sound unbearable or really complicated or difficult to listen, but I do my best. Anyways, the video I want to make today is about Odin, or so-called Odin, because here, well, I'm in Finland, so I live in Finland, even if there was no Scandinavian or Nordic gods here. I anyways live in a Swedish-speaking area, and here people who speak Swedish, they call Odin Odin, and Thor is Thor, because Swedish O, like U, is English O, so that's why it's Odin. And so first I want to explain myself. So for sure, I think you can see that this channel is clearly about magic, and it's clearly about all this invisible matter, let's say. And I will talk today about my personal experience of working with Odin. This video is made because of the contract I made with Odin, and I don't think that I would ever dare to record any video in English if he wouldn't push me to do so. I already made this video in Russian, but according to our contract, I should do it in both languages. So here I am. So in the beginning, when it all started, I wanted some more deeper understanding of runes. I started to learn runes many years ago, but it always was just like one piece here, one piece there. It's never been a solid picture. It's never been like this really solid path with runes and with the Nordic mysteria. But lately, especially this year, there was really intensive learning of runes and Scandinavian traditions and Nordic magic approaches. So in September, I started to make a course about runes, and the structure of course was the short lesson about one rune, interpretations and how to work with it, which is followed by a meditation. And that's what I'm good at. I do a lot of meditation, guided meditations, where I introduce energy to people, and they can use this energy, they can use these tools to work with it further. So the idea of the course is we take one rune and we live it, like Freya Aswin did, for instance. She was eating every day one cookie with the rune, and we do meditation and we live for a few days in this energy and see how the base is responding it, how the environment responded to this energy, what it shows about us and about our path. So after the first lection and meditation was recorded and I posted it, I felt incredibly exhausted. I felt that I did something very wrong somehow, even though I clearly understood that no, the mistake is not in the meditation. I did provide clear energy and I was fine, and people responded, and it was helpful and clear. However, I lost a lot of energy, and which it's not typical for me. When I do energy work, it usually opposite fulfills me. This night my friend saw a dream about me where I took some sport car without any permission and drove it away. And I thought, I didn't pay something maybe for the right to give this information about runes. It was a little bit strange idea, because I just share my experience and so on. But however, I felt that when I did record meditation, I jump into such a deep field. Maybe it felt like a little bit of stealing from somewhere unknown, I don't know, without any permission, such a deep energy, such deep knowledge maybe. And I was okay, I thought, and I did just like, let's say, classical ritual offering to Nordic gods. Paid, in my opinion, but apparently it was not enough, because the next night, I saw a dream approximately like that, where I did hijacked a speedboat with my friends somehow, and I did go on a really high speed somewhere, and then the boat started to took control over itself, so I couldn't control it, and the program said to me that now this boat goes to the owner even if you are in it. And the boat came to the huge manor. It was beautiful, but the people there, they treat me like I'm some kind of trash. But then after a while, they really looking totally different man came out from somewhere and explained to me that I should understand the situation deeper. And yes, this is actually his boat, even though these people behave like it's their boat, but in reality it's his. And he was limping, and I woke up like with, what is that? The same idea of a dream. And then I limping, and I look, okay, who's limping god in Nordic mythology? And I found Völund, so he's like Gefäst, so he's also a smith. And I just dived in the meditation to ask like what does, because I was working with deities before. I have my main deity, it's the Inanna, so I mean it's not the first time in general to work with deities for me. So through the meditation I reached to the structure of Völund deity, and there I got this clear picture that I have to call for Odin. So I didn't wait long, so I just drove down to Hanko. It's quite close here, it's open sea there, starts the Baltic Sea. I think, okay, good enough, it's north. And I bought a bottle of mead, took my runes with me, some candles, some incense sticks, and went there. So I made ritual and offering to Odin, and what I felt his presence immediately, and the energy of him is quite interesting. He's very ironic somehow, a little bit sarcastic, and even though that he's the god of war, I didn't feel any aggression or anything hostile or even war related in this energy. It's more about shaman energy, more about wanderer, this kind of things. And interesting enough that I asked what can I do to get this permission to dive into runes deeply and provide this energy to my followers who are going with me to investigate runes and his wisdom. And he offered that we can do a deal, but the thing is that first we make a deal, and after I know policies of this deal, after I know the whole circumstances and details of this contract. So he asked like he's ready to work with me only with this certain circumstance. If I dare to make this kind of leap of faith and first make a deal and then see where it leads. I somehow dared to do that, and we sealed a deal with a mead. I got extremely powerful meditations with so deep archetypal energies, and I will make this in English as well later this year. Now it exists only in Russian, but I feel the urge to make it in English as well. And that was, I felt fulfilled immediately. So yeah, I got this permission, I got this success, and all the rest of the work, every time I record meditation or video about it, it was just energizing me. So that's incredible. And the ideas I got, the inspiration, it was truly beautiful images and connections and links and the energy feelings. So that was one part of it, of course. But for that, and that was one personal request also. But for that, one of the, I can't maybe say everything or explain everything, but one of the thing I have to pay with is to make these videos and to actually start to promote Nordic mystery and Nordic magic among my followers. And I don't have any auditory in English, so let's see if it leads somewhere. So far I have just Russian speaking society, and my Odin's video for them, for this small circle I am working with, for my COVID, that was very useful. They say that it gave them a lot, and let's see where it leads. So with this video I want to open the series of videos about Nordic magic, about Nordic approach to magic. So it will be not just about Odin, of course, it will be about every deity I had encounter, and about the basic tradition and runes itself and all kind of this Nordic magic related things. But of course it's not that clean deal, like of course you think, or like I represent now. He said that I will go through certain trial, and the more and deeper I go into Nordic magic and understanding of his wisdom, the more trial I will have. And the first level of it I already had, but the interesting thing that he actually let me choose where, in what field this trial should be. And I was not like struggling, but my goals lately was about raising my visibility on social media and expanding my circle. So I said, yeah, I could take a trial in this field, so it can expand. And what I got extremely unlike a wave of hate. So every time I do something and the people come there and start to talk about it, and why your magic didn't help you to lose weight or something like that, I said, okay, so that's what it is. This Odin's trial, that's fine. And yes, I think that it's, of course, it was like a lot of messages suddenly in Russian. I mean, it's in Russian society. And yeah, that was quite tough for a moment. But somehow I accepted it. Like, okay, if it's that trial, I accept. I understand that that's probably where I have to get used to it. The more I will become visible and known, the more hate I will get. That's okay. That's fine. Let's see there is for sure more to come. I don't know. So anyways, what I want to show more and think of more, how to start working with deities or with Odin, for instance, if you never been doing it before. And in my opinion, if you don't use classical occult rituals of invocation or evocation, then maybe you just should start with worshipping. And for instance, make some altar and worship the deity you want to work with. But I really think that we should be really, really careful of choosing one, since Odin is not my primary god, and I don't think I would ever dare to become his devotee. If you choose to work with Odin, I think you choose the hardest level of the game. Because if I work with Inanna and I can request her help, and I feel her presence, she's there when I really need her. Odin, he just pops up, come and see. Okay, that's not you haven't done anything. Like, come on, this is it's not how it's working. It's not how it's done. Just chop and okay, and you start like, what's going on? So he doesn't really show you what to do. He just come and say that you should do whatever you are planning there. So he will never take your hand and help you to struggle to your goals. No, he will just drop you there and see if you will make it. If you won't, well, sorry. That he doesn't really care. And what I understand also, that Odin clearly understands what is human. Sometimes with working with other gods, they can be really protective and helping, but sometimes you feel this huge distance in understanding what is your life is like for real. And maybe the time perception of the deities in your time is not always correct and matching. Odin knows exactly what are you struggling through. That's quite an interesting discovery for me, at least. And of course, when you start to worship such deity as Odin, then you should understand what is to offer. And here could be many alternatives. But he is not interested in material thing. Yeah, like a sign of attention maybe. You can do your little altar in the forest or by the sea and bring some meat there, or bring some what you find in the forest also. I don't know. But if you bring some meat or nuts or something like that, like usually people bring to deities, he doesn't really need that. What he really likes, the energy of you doing something from the subjective position, when you are in charge, when you do something from the side, from the place of authority. And also, what is really important for Odin is the self-sacrifice, because he, of course, his main myth is about self-sacrifice. I don't think in this video I should talk a lot about the myth of Odin, but still I should maybe say a few words if you not really familiar with his background. Of course, he's worshipped as god of war, as a main Aesir, as a creator. So he and his brothers Vile and Vö, they created Midgard, they created every world, they created the universe. However, Odin is also the one who started the first war. However, Odin who started a lot of really shady processes, and he made a lot of shady decisions. And he has quite a tricksterish nature, you think. I mean, that's what we get from the mythology. But when you work with him, I'm not sure if he's such a bad guy. Of course, I really like Neil Gaiman's representation of Odin in American Gods. That's his demeanor. That's also what I can see in working with Odin. It's quite the same demeanor, but much more clear moral compass. And I feel that I can trust him. He's not gonna trick me. The only thing which is tricky is your own ability to work with your shadow, because that's what he wants. He wants you to see your shadow. He wants to see your darker spots and corners in your soul, in your subconsciousness, in your consciousness. And that's, of course, may be somehow explained why he is perceived as a trickster, sometimes even more than Loki. Because, of course, when you read Edda, then you find Odin in plenty of really weird situations. Like, for instance, this a story when he was arguing with Thor on a different sides of a river, and he was mocking him, he was really humiliating him, talking how he's stupid in all this ironic, sarcastic manner, that his wife is cheating on him and so on, and Thor couldn't reach him, couldn't do anything, and Odin didn't even reveal himself. He pretended to be this fairy guy. So it's interesting. So he makes you, he always like put a spotlight on the things you have to work with, and that's interesting, because the main thing of what I perceive from Odin is that his incredible curiosity, his passion for knowledge, and his devotion to find more knowledge. It's quite amazing. And throughout all the myth, you can see that the main idea of Odin and the start of every story, it's him searching more knowledge. And that he self-sacrificed him to himself when he hung himself on an Yggdrasil tree. Then, yes, he was suffering, and he did get this access to runes. But it was not enough. So, okay, he got runes, but how to interpret them? For that knowledge, he took his eye and put in Mimir spring or source, so he can have more knowledge. And to get the knowledge, he could do whatever. And that's where his moral compass is not working at all. Because, like Mimir himself, Odin doesn't let the guy die. I mean, Mimir is old head without body, who is gardening Mimir source, and he just hates everyone and life and etc. But Odin is keeping him there. Odin comes to him for his knowledge. Odin came to the hell and woke up Völund to find out about the destiny of God. So he really doesn't care about personal boundaries if we're talking about the knowledge. So he will do anything to get deeper, to fulfill his curiosity. That's his passion, where he doesn't have any borders. He can break every border to dive deeper into understanding, into wisdom. And that's, in my opinion, the main thing of Odin. That's why he is much more magician, much more shaman than he is a god of war. Well, all this thing, this with god of war, I think that's a little of historical confusion. I think that Thor was much more, let's say, primary or first god. And he was god of war, and he still is god of war, but like now he is the god of war honor. But anyways, the Thor was he was like Mars, he was like Ares, and in this Interpretatio Germanica also he is going under the Mars tag, and that's it, identify Thor as Mars and Odin as Mercury. So, I mean, it also tells a lot about how Tatsit, for instance, perceived Odin. He didn't perceive him as a warrior, he perceived him as a wanderer, as a Mercury. And also the idea, we can see in the local mythology and the regional mythology that Thor was much more of a god of war than Odin was ever. And when Odin did push Thor on second roles, so he just took part of his functions, so because he became a primary god, so he became a god of war. But I think that's just a historical confusion, basically. So I don't think that the war thing was ever a primary feature of Odin. So he's more into shaman, in a poetry, of course, yes, and into magic. So this he is being wanderer will wait from you the same passion and ability to self-sacrifice for the knowledge, for the wisdom. And it's not that many gods who are sacrificing themselves. What we know? We know Odin, we know Jesus Christ, we know Prometheus. Who else we can recall? I think there are a few more, but this archetype in general is maybe not that massive, but still it's quite interesting, and I don't find that much about sacrificing God, to be honest. I was researching, but looks like there is no such an idea as a self-sacrificing God as an archetype. Even though, in my opinion, it has common features, so why not? And yeah, I understand that Jesus Christ is more like Balder in this case. It's more like a Balder because he is like a sun god who is dying and resurrect again on the winter solstice. But I think the idea of self-sacrifice of Jesus Christ, maybe some many years ago, some time ago, was not about saving us from our sins. Maybe it was also for knowledge. I don't know. But this is crucial differences, yes. Maybe symbolically the same idea to sacrifice yourself for something greater and bigger than you. However, sorry if you're Christian. So here I have some criticism to say about the whole idea of Christianity. That we know that Jesus Christ came to fight the older approach to God, let's say, about the Old Testament and etc. And something went crucially wrong when he became part of the system. But anyways, if we just fantasize about the idea that Jesus Christ might be one of these sacrificing gods for who are giving our paths to the knowledge, who are giving our us, who are giving us the path to the knowledge, who are giving us the road to something divine. The maybe self-sacrificing gods are those gods who are actually want us to come closer and closer to understanding of the nature of God, of deities, of divine. And maybe that's the idea behind it. Also, it's Jesus Christ, including. I don't know. That's just my interpretations. However, yes, if you want to work with Odin, I believe first you should start with maybe small contracts. If you don't want to be constantly in some trials. But if you want it hard, then for sure, then you definitely should go for Odin and for his way of working with human. What can I say I have now? So this particular contract was made in September. Now it's February. It took me a little bit too long to fulfill my part of the deal. Well, I still didn't fulfill it, to just start to work on it. I have to admit that this cooperation with Odin was very helpful and in open up for me so many ways of knowledge. And the interesting side effects I got also. With all this knowledge with runes, yes, I also got inspired for so many more disciplines I'm studying now, and I got inspired to revise my knowledge of occultism and systemize it. So now I'm going through everything, and I think I will prepare quite a big, detailed course on first steps in occultism. Because what I noticed a lot, so yeah, this all this cooperation, this deal, it was incredibly inspiring, and I don't know what will happen with my YouTube channel. Will it ever be interesting in a bigger amount of people? But even those people who already watched my videos, just little of them, just a couple of hundreds so far. I got feedback, and that's I like. And I mean, I just started YouTube channel, so I have no idea how to develop it. I have no idea how it works, because my social media always was Facebook and Instagram and Telegram, and there I understand what to do, and there where I have my followers and my circle. But this is my absolutely new territory, and plus it's also in English, so I don't know how. Let's see, will it work? I hope so. I really hope that it was interesting for you. That was my experience, and if you have questions, you are very welcome to the comments, and I will answer them. So thanks a lot. Bye bye, or hej då, how they say here in Swedish.